Absolute Restoration, our team will feel magical since our focus is on serving you and your roofing needs.
Finding a roofer who actually shows up and communicates, that's just one of the problems we solve by informing you of every step in the process.
Selling premium roofing systems backed by warranties and payment plans starting at just $99 per month. Trust Absolute Restoration to deliver.
Experience unicorn-level service and affordability from a team your community trusts. Call Absolute Restoration today.
Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 6.
Welcome into the Room to Room Weather Center here for Mississippi Live Weather at 6. I'm meteorologist Gabe Maynor, and what a day it was. What a perfect summer day it was with that drier air starting to kick in. Just a much more enjoyable forecast moving forward. As we take a look at some things we're going to be discussing, we're of course going to be taking a look from our chief meteorologist Matt Laupon live at the Chickasaw Heritage Center, at least the project site for it, because we know it won't be built for another year. But just excited about that newest addition to Tupelo. We're also going to be talking about how good the temperatures actually get and just how dry that air will be as well with limited rain chances. We're also breaking down what's in store for the weekend ahead. So several things to be discussing, several important topics, but let's go ahead and jump into that first 12. What we're seeing as we head out the door right now, some isolated showers down there towards Pickens and Noxubee County. We'll get to that in just a moment, but drier air really the name of the game overnight and into the start of our Friday. Yes, Friday. We're at the end of the week, guys. Upper 60s for around 7 a.m. with plenty of sunshine on tap for the day, but it's just going to be an ideal forecast. But that forecast, already ideal right now, and our chief meteorologist Matt Laupon joining us out in the field as we speak for a latest look at what's happening out there. Matt, walk us through the new project.
Okay, so this project is an old project, but newly visible to us. I'm here in Tupelo at the Chickasaw Heritage Center. It has been a dream for many for decades, and it is part of the culmination of the Journey Home campaign, which has been a capital campaign that's been going on for a while to try to raise funds for this center. I'm going to show you it instead of me for a moment. As you can see here, did kind of get an idea on the overall scope of it and size, more than 40,000 square feet. And is very impressive. Now, the look of it completely different. I was talking with the site manager just a minute ago. A week ago, there was none of this. The Monday of last week, they had not stood up the steel that you see here, and they've poured a lot of concrete, and we'll show that up a little close here in a minute. They'll be finishing out the exhibit area, pouring the concrete for that coming up tomorrow, actually, and have a number of other folks out here, but they were kind enough to give us a sneak peek this evening. It's, again, a huge project, a $60 million project, multi-phase project that will be a draw to Northeast Mississippi, in particular, the fact that it's solidly within the Tupelo city limits on 160 plus acres. Just a very cool site, free to the public in a lot of ways. We'll talk about some of those details related to this coming up here in a couple minutes. You kind of alluded to, it's pretty nice out here at this point. I'm going to see if I can get my signal up by going up the terrain a little bit as well. We'll talk more about, of course, what's going on out here in a couple minutes, but just thank Brady Davis, who's the CEO of the Chickasaw and Kana Foundation, for allowing us to kind of come out and show you the sneak peek. We'll talk a lot more about it. We'll walk you through some of the sites out here in a couple minutes. Live in Tupelo, Chief Meteorologist Matt Laupon for Mississippi Live Weather.
Well, thank you, Matt, for just joining us and walking us through that old new project. Yeah, I mean, it's just exciting nonetheless, just having that latest addition to Tupelo. And I know that I am excited personally to get to experience that here in a little over a year. So let the countdown begin for that just great project and great addition like I was talking about. Crenshaw, blue skies. This is what we're seeing right now across the region, and that's an ideal forecast. I saw the blue skies there in Matt's background, and I didn't see a drop of sweat on Matt's head either. So that shows you those drier conditions, more bearable weather, definitely in place for today. 86 degrees, feeling like 88. Those winds still coming out of the north about 5 to 10 miles an hour. Now, as we jump to our next sky camera there with the North Mississippi Storm Chasers, a little bit of a different story down around Monroe County. This is a result of some of that moisture, some of that, what's the word I'm looking for? No, leftover from the rain showers back towards the south. What am I looking at? Not transpiration. I'll look it up in a second. I have it in my head, but my head is an interesting place to say the least. 86 degrees in Amory, feeling like 91, and there's a look at that cloud cover, at least building in from the moisture that we're seeing further to the south, just some of that excess that's being thrown off there towards the north, and we can see it in Monroe County. Rolling Fork, 88 degrees, feels like 97. Winds a little bit more out of the east there, and so that's why we see those feels like values a bit higher. Whenever those transition fully to the north, well, then we'll get that drier air and much better feeling temperatures. Now, I put this graphic in and I realized, wait, it rained all day yesterday. So of course the temperatures are going to look like they're warmer today. So a large part of this is due to rain cool air. You can see where the rain showers moved right up. But where we see the difference is actually out there in the Delta, where there were some drier conditions yesterday, and even on the northeast side of the state before those showers really circulated in. So anywhere from a 2 to 5 to 7 degree temperature change over the past 24 hours is what we're experiencing, and that's a result of that cooler, more seasonable air compared to the 99s and 100s that we saw earlier. Temperatures across the region, we don't have I was about to say it. Belzona and Greenwood coming in with 90 and 92, but the rest of us mid to upper 80s, and those feels like values not going to be too much different than where we're currently sitting at with temperatures. I mean, it's 80 in Iuka, feeling like 84, so that drier air already kicking in. Where we're seeing those highest values still where that moisture resides, back there towards Belzona, Greenwood, and south of 82, still in the mid 90s. So feeling just slightly muggy, but definitely not at the extremes that we were experiencing the past few days with a few of those heat advisories and extreme heat warnings that were in place. Let's go ahead and zoom in on that Noxubee and Pickens County area as we were tracking those storms earlier on this evening. As those transitioned from Macon to Shuqualak, that's where we had those best rain chances. Now just a moderate rainfall on the back end of that. And as we loop this over the last, let's say, hour, because that's where we tracked them earlier, this boundary a little bit further towards the south than what we had originally thought. You can kind of see that right there, jumping to the latest scan. I'm going to draw that out for you guys to kind of get a visual on this, but there's your boundary along that leading edge. And so showers and storms are going to continue to form there towards Kemper County and well into the Meridian area. So that's where the best rain chances reside. A few of those. We can actually see a little bit of a boundary there in Pickens County as well. So Aliceville getting a few of those isolated showers. Not really an electric storm. Those strikes actually coming from this batch out here towards Alabama. Better chances out there. But as we zoom in on that, we'll zoom in on just these storms right here. How many strikes are we getting? I see 2. 3. Okay, 3 strikes total on those storms. So considering yesterday we were talking about 300 to 400 per cell, this is much better because these are all our rain chances and we only see 3 strikes over the last 30 minutes or so. So a better outlook, and as we zoom out to that home view, you can definitely see where North Mississippi is completely dry and mostly clear across the region as a lot of that moisture has been pushed off there towards the south. So as we get into our national radar, let's go ahead and jump to the next graphic. Caleb, is it in play?
It won't let me every time I click.
Okay, let me restart it and then put it back in play. So bear with me behind the scenes here real quick while I adjust this. And we'll go to there. So this is a look at our surface analysis to kind of give you an idea of what we're experiencing across the region. I'm going to expand it out a few times because there is a lot to talk about. First, beginning with that boundary that we were discussing earlier on. You can see it by that brown line right there. That's that front that moved through earlier, now transitioned to more of a stationary front, and just really a boundary that will allow these storms to generate right along that line and even further to the south there towards the Gulf Coast regions. That is where the rain chances are going to be best, but since that boundary is further to the south, those rain chances, as they build further north, just become less and less and less. So North Mississippi, of course, on the drier side of that forecast. But there's the good news. The good news is coming, and that is this cold front that's moving through the Dakotas right now, bringing with it some decent rain chances. This will start to progress more towards North Mississippi in the oncoming days, and with that, let me go ahead and draw an arrow so we can get a visual on where that's moving in. We have, fair to say, cool?
I'd say cool.
I'm going to say cool too. I'm not saying cold, I'm saying cool and dry air. Moving in behind that front, that all transitioning to North Mississippi in about the latter part of your weekend and really into the start of next week, making those temperatures, dare I say, feel fall-like. We're not in fall, we're still about a month from that, but we're at least trending that way and looking a lot better. That's not the only thing we're tracking. Of course, we're excited about that. What we're not really excited for is Aaron. As you can see, Aaron just off of the Carolina coast right there towards the Outer Banks, and now moving more towards the Maryland, New Jersey, and Massachusetts coast. Some of that rainfall actually being picked up on our surface analysis, but really it's those tropical storm force winds that we've been experiencing, and that's the extent that we've seen from Aaron. Fortunately, stayed out at sea, and it's a blessing that we have not been able to see too many impacts. We will be tracking that here in just a moment. Let me check and make sure, because I think when we move this, then it doesn't allow you to advance the graphic. So if that ever happens, just go ahead and click the next one and restart it. So let me get on that real quick. And Yeah, just go ahead and advance through this. So what we're going to see overnight is very dry conditions, limited rain chances overnight and not really high on those. Those kind of remaining out there towards the southern part of Mississippi and central and southern part of Alabama. Now that cloud cover associated with the moisture starts to build south as well. So we're going to see those dry conditions, especially where those northern winds really start to jet in here. And I say jet because they're going to be strong, about 10 to 15 miles an hour with that, as that front builds further to the south. So we are tracking those into the overnight hours, but that's going to also cool our temperatures off and make the air feel so much drier. 69 degrees for our morning commute. Those temperatures climb throughout the morning, but only the mid 80s by noontime. We needed to make some plans outside, or at least some of those lunch plans as well as your afternoon and evening plans, because with the sunshine, with the drier air, yes, it is still hot, it's summer, but we're at least feeling a lot better outside. So get out and enjoy it, because this is going to be as picture perfect of a forecast as you can get. And of course I say that, and conditions actually get much better towards the early part of next week. We're going to be tracking that here in the next 60 is just that extended forecast for your weekend, extended forecast for early next week, what those temperatures mean, and of course tracking the tropics in more detail with not just Aaron, but also more tropical developments out in the Atlantic. We'll be walking through that in more detail, and of course joining Chief Meteorologist Matt Laupon out in the field with the latest update on the Chickasaw Heritage Center. Excited for all of that, so make sure to keep it here with Mississippi Live Weather at 6.
For more than 100 years, First Choice Bank has provided dedicated community banking to North Mississippi. The banking products and services you need when you need them. At First Choice, you're our priority. Make First Choice your choice for banking.
March 24th, 2023 was a normal Friday. You know, we knew the weather was not good, but we needed to take shelter, and we didn't have shelter. My husband and almost 2-year-old daughter, Ethan and Riley, they did lose their lives in the storm. We're still recovering from it. We'll always be recovering from it. Matt Laupon cares about the community. He's not just there to collect a paycheck. I feel like Matt Laupon has proven himself trustworthy.
Right now, from the Mississippi Live Weather Center, here's meteorologist Gabe Maynor.
Well, welcome back to Mississippi Live Weather at 6. We're going to start with the latest look at the drought monitor. And I know it was a rainy day yesterday, but unfortunately, one day of rain is not going to do damage on that drought monitor. And so the only thing damaging right now is those drought monitors just getting worse and worse as that coverage area extending well into that northeast side of Mississippi, now including parts of Franklin County there in Alabama, all the way down there towards Webster, parts of Attala, basically all of Montgomery, and then pushing far towards the northwest. That's actually where we see that level 2 drought in place, that moderate drought level for Cleveland, for Senatobia, South Haven, Water Valley, even down there towards Greenville. So unfortunately, that drought continues to build, and we'll see that over the next few days and into the next week, as well as a lot of those rain chances are just limited to none. So very little rain chances, and that means very little relief from those drought conditions. Greenwood, 91 degrees, and speaking of dry weather, well, we see it in full effect there towards Greenwood. 95 degrees is what it feels like, so that is a step back from what we've been seeing. So finally, some relief from that oppressive summer heat. And not just in Greenwood, we're also getting a look there in Mabin. Hey, beautiful sunshine right there. I actually shouted out Caleb a second ago, or yesterday, should I say, your glories.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm start using that. I like that. But that's whenever it shines behind the cloud, right? And it has those rays shining through. So
start seeing the rays either go above the cloud or even down.
So these aren't glories just yet, based off of that classification.
No, I'd just say that's kind of the lens from the camera.
Okay. I had to get just simple on me.
That would just be me.
Okay, well, we are going to hopefully see some glories later on, so make sure to tune into the Mississippi Live Weather stream for the Skycam Network, the North Mississippi Storm Chasers. I mean, it is immaculate what they've been able to piece together, and you guys get a view of that anytime you want on the Mississippi Live Weather app or our website, msliveweather.com. 86 degrees towards Edinburgh. That's where some of those isolated showers are popping up just south of Attala and Winston County. So, yes, there are rain chances, but they are very, very low, and especially up here in the northern half of the state. So fortunately, and also unfortunately, we're not getting those rain chances for any evening plans. Feels like values. This is a way to tell just how muggy it is in the atmosphere. And the fact that we're getting 89 New Albany, 86 Boonville, Matt's out there at 88 degrees, and then we're seeing 90 there towards Tunica. Just very limited moisture in the air, so that's keeping our oppressive heat more to be a bearable heat. And so that's going to be great for the next few days, and especially into that extended forecast as temperatures lower. But temperatures right now, you can see some of that rain-cooled air down there towards Noxubee County with those oranges popping up. That's around 75 to 80 degrees, even out there towards Alabama just a bit. But 80 in Iuka is our local low temperature, 89 Clarksdale, 89 Cleveland, still seeing 90s towards Belzona and Greenwood. So it's still hot, but it's better, and we're heading in the right direction. Looking on that regional perspective, we can definitely get an idea of that cooler air, that frontal boundary really pushing southeast, and that's how we got some of that drier air as a result. So making those temperatures better, making those feels like values better, and that rain-cooled air really dominating those Gulf Coast regions, so making temperatures actually better than what we're experiencing up here in North Mississippi. I know it rained yesterday, and so that's going to make this graphic not look as enticing, but what you need to pay attention to is the temperature change up there towards Tennessee and even on the way southern end of Mississippi, because we are getting that when it's the overall climate pattern, because rainfall, of course, is going to limit our temperatures and just how high we get, and that's what happened yesterday. So we're not seeing a 15-degree swing. We're not getting warmer. We're actually getting cooler in the grand scheme of things, and that will continue to drop heading into early parts of next week. So this is a good thing, even though it's saying 15-degree temperature swing. I know it's a little bit confusing, but I was hoping that you guys could at least see some of those blues and get excited. Drop off tomorrow morning, 69 degrees, 84 towards lunch, and we're going to see low 90s towards that last spell. Plenty of sunshine throughout the day, so that's why I'm saying get outside while you can to enjoy this forecast, because we're going to see very little in regards to rainfall and very little in regards to cloud cover. And I know there are some Jamboree games tomorrow night, so hey, all the more reason to go. Support your team. So let's take a look at that forecast overnight tonight. Staying on the drier side, and those northern winds, a big part of that. So that's going to drive in some of that continental air, which is, of course, drier and, of course, cooler. We're experiencing that in full force today. Cloud cover does try to build as that boundary shifts a little bit more northward, and then we'll get that mostly cloudy skies south of 82. That all becomes partly cloudy to basically clear skies as we head towards that 7, 8, 9 o'clock hour for our Friday morning. But we pause on this at the 5 o'clock hour, and we're going to pause on it again at 6, because this is such a great sight to see. Mid to upper 60s across the region. You're going to walk outside tomorrow and just notice a drastic change in that forecast, and you might actually want to spend some time outside tomorrow morning rather than try and outrun the heat. So it's going to be a good forecast and something that we are just excited about here at Mississippi Live Weather. And I think I'm hearing the echoes of cheers all across North Mississippi right now, viewing those temperatures. Friday morning staying on the drier side once again, and that'll continue into mid to late morning as well. A lot of that cloud cover, like I talked about, shifting off towards the south and keeping our moisture primarily south of our viewing area. That continues into that late morning and, should I say, lunch hour. So as you're heading out to any lunch plans, clear skies across the region, should be plenty of sunshine throughout the day, warming those temperatures up, not to drastic levels, but definitely going to be warmer than our morning commute. That'll continue towards 3, 4, and 5 o'clock, and there's that northern wind still making a difference on that forecast. 5, 6, staying on the drier side, and that's how it'll be for any of our evening plans or any of our football games. Yes, football season is back, and we are so excited. So much excitement here, right? This is just a good forecast to be a part of. High temperatures, low to mid 90s, so it's going to be a few degrees actually higher. I know we're talking about a cooling trend, and then we talked about warming it back up, but this is how high it'll be in that extended forecast, because we're not seeing too much of a warming trend to where things get to be unbearable once again. We're actually going to be cooling off pretty significantly towards early part of next week. But the good thing with those warmer temperatures is it's still going to be paired with those drier air, or that drier air. It's not going to be feeling too oppressive. So those low to mid 90s feels like values line up well with those low to mid 90s actual temperatures. So should be bearable. It should actually be, I'm not going to say comfortable, it's still hot, but at least in the right direction for how it feels outside. Now, Futurecast for your Friday night, for your football games, looking on the perfect side. This is as good as it gets. I'm just can't get past this. And overnight, if your game goes into first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth overtime, I don't know if you do that in Jamboree, but if it were to happen, you've got a good forecast for it. You're not going to have any rain delays beyond that point. So it's going to be a good forecast all overnight hours and into the start of our Saturday as well. Isolated showers trying to pop up as that moisture moves back into the forecast, but this is actually one of our more aggressive models, the strike model is what we call it, and this usually likes to forecast rain chances 48 hours out. But it's usually way more numerous than this. So the fact that it's only forecasting a couple of these showers means that rain chances are pretty much going to be limited, and all models suggesting that same direction. So we're fortunate for that, staying on the drier side for our Saturday commute, our Saturday plans. I know this isn't college football just yet, but I know Kansas plays tomorrow, so shout out Matt. He'll be tuned into the game. And there we see the blessing in disguise. Not in disguise, it's showing off. That's that frontal boundary we tracked at the top of the show, moving in Sunday morning, early hours, and that'll transition through the area as Sunday goes on. Not really feeling a difference temperature-wise Sunday, but beyond that forecast, Oh my, we're looking good. And that's going to bring with it some drier air as well. So not only are we cooling off, we're also going to see much better feels like values, just better than even today. So high temperatures, low to mid 90s across the region. Like we talked about at 5, I think this is a little bit on the higher end, 97 to 98. I'd have that drawn back to about 95, 96, somewhere in that range. But upper 80 still being seen on the northeast side of the state, so some areas will be better than others. Those heat indices at least keeping the drier conditions around, so it'll still be a comfortable forecast across the region. Like we said, we're excited about it. Should be a good weekend on tap all the way around for watching that week 0 college football game, but also watching some of our high school football Friday night. Here's a look at your low temperatures, and you might be asking, why are you showing me this? Well, tomorrow it's supposed to be 69 degrees as we start the day. A nice start to the day, but then we get into low 70s for Saturday and Sunday. Watch Monday, 65 for Monday and Tuesday, starting out our day. 62 by Wednesday, and yes, you were seeing that correctly, 61 for the start of our Thursday. This has actually been cooling off the past few days on model runs, so that could be even lower because whenever we're tracking low temperatures, a big driver in that forecast is dew points. And so we're getting dew points into the mid-50s Monday, showing you how dry that forecast is. Still mid-50s by Wednesday, and we're actually below that for our Thursday. Some of those dew points coming in about upper 40s to low 50s. So the fact we're getting that low, I'm not saying mid 50s just yet. I need to see a few more runs before I'm convinced on that for the start of our Thursday. But upper 50s, not out of the realm of possibility. Something we were watching in that extended forecast, not for our weekend, but once that front moves in Sunday, that's when we can expect that cooler, drier air to move in place. Should still be a beautiful forecast despite that heat still lingering around, but that's our seasonable forecast, 92 degrees. Don't be surprised by it, just be grateful for what's to come after it. 69 for the start of tomorrow morning, 86 by noon, and we're tracking 89 by 5. We top out about 91 degrees, so still going to be a toasty forecast, but that drier air makes it bearable. And looking at that extended 7-day, we can definitely see the better conditions moving in. That is a perfect forecast. 92 for Saturday and Sunday, dropping to 88 Monday, 83 for Tuesday, and we're talking low 80s by Wednesday and Thursday for our high temperatures. Something we're definitely excited about and something we will be tracking more in detail coming up tonight at 10. But what we're going to be looking for tonight at 6 is more details on the tropics, on Aaron, the path that Aaron is taking, and what's left in the tropics that might be impacting our forecast and the extended outlook. We'll be looking at that in more detail. And how could I forget? Chief Meteorologist Matt Lawpon joining us out in the field at the Chickasaw Heritage Center, going to walk us through some more of your questions and just what you guys are wondering, and hopefully providing some of those answers on the exciting news here in Tupelo, Mississippi.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Welcome back into Mississippi Live Weather. I'm actually standing in front of the topic of discussion, and that is Hurricane Aaron, still at Category 2 strength. You can see it out in the Atlantic right now. Aaron is still moving up the Atlantic coast, but you can see already surpassed that Outer Banks area and then moving up the Virginia coastline, and we're seeing that well into New York as well. Now, go ahead and take it over here to the monitor and don't advance it just yet, because I want you guys to really see what we're seeing, and that is this frontal boundary moving in that drier air. Definitely seeing that in full force on the northern half of the state, so that drier air you can see on our scale definitely already making its impact with more of that drier air moving in that extended forecast. So yes, this is showing Aaron, still a pretty beast of a storm, but also getting that drier air. So two things to depict on what we're tracking here, big weather stories for us. So go ahead and click off. You got to do what, yeah, I should have messed with it. But going ahead and looking at that path on Aaron, moving up the Atlantic coast, we can definitely see where it's headed. It's currently a Category 2, 100 miles an hour on that latest advisory. That 4 p.m. advisory showing 100 miles an hour, 952 on that pressure level. And as we move up the Atlantic, I'm actually going to stand on this side so you can get a visual on it. We're seeing Category 1 strength early Friday morning, still at Cat 1 by the time we're getting to our Mississippi Live Weather at 5 tomorrow night. But as we move towards the weekend, Caleb, I'm sorry, you probably won't be talking about Aaron. Well, it's trying to linger, but not going to be for us. As you can see, moving up the Canadian coastline there for early Saturday morning and then into the North Atlantic, actually trying to circle back to the United Kingdom. So it's definitely been a beast of a storm. And actually, yeah, go ahead and jump forward the next two pause points right here, and you can get a visual. Yes, one more. And you can get a visual on this storm. We started off the coast of Africa. I mean, we were walking through this what was it, 7, 8 days ago. And now the fact that we're talking about it moving up the Atlantic coast and away from us, I mean, this has been a full story effect over what has been a long time frame. So this is one of those circumstances where the Atlantic is still getting pretty active. We're in the peak time frame this time of year. And so no surprise that we're seeing some of that activity on the rise. So fortunately, it has avoided us, and we'll remain seeing that into the extended forecast as well. Now we do have more development, and this is actually disturbance number 1 of 3, so make sure to stay tuned. 70% chance of development over the next 7. Yesterday evening it was at 60, but that 10% development over the next 2 days, that's what it was at yesterday, now currently sitting at 50. But you notice the track, taking a very similar track to Aaron, so it's just basically following copy and paste, and it's actually going to follow the same track in the extended forecast, moving up the Atlantic coast and then out away from the United States. So fortunately, we're dodging yet another bullet and staying on the much calmer side in that forecast. Disturbance number 2 shows 40% chance of development over the next 2 and over the next 7. Now this is actually, if you want to zoom out on this real quick, and we can kind of show the relative locations. This is off the coast of Africa and then moving through the Atlantic, through the southern Atlantic, and then moving basically that same track. But is this going to hold together? It's not exactly in the most primed environment, so one we're paying attention to, but not exactly worried about at this moment for any of that development. Now the tropical disturbance number 3, that needs to be changed. That is not a 40. That is a 30, I believe. Should be a 30% on both of these. That's over the next 2 and the next 7. That development just basically in the central Atlantic, a very small storm compared to some of these more significant disturbances, but this is the latest edition, and I do apologize that both of those should be 30. So we're going to tweak that for 10 and make sure that that information is correct. But none of these tropical disturbances as of right now are expected to reach the United States. We actually do have our jet stream here that can kind of walk through that forecast, and I kept it on a general view right here because you can see that first disturbance that we were walking through starting to trend more north up the Atlantic coastline. There's Aaron, still a pretty beast of a storm. We keep saying that about it because Aaron reached category 5 strength. That is a beast of a storm if I've ever seen one. Now this starts to wrap up and become a little bit more organized as it moves north of the Caribbean, and as that transitions up the Atlantic coast there, 6 p.m., that's where we could see it reach that named storm strength, and we are at Fernand. That's going to be the next name on the list. And so we're probably going to get that by the time we get towards the weekend. That moving up the Atlantic coast, and you can see in the next pause point just how it gets close, but not close enough. And so we stay away from that storm once again. That frontal boundary that we're seeing Sunday actually driving this system away. So while it's going to develop into probably a named storm, the reason why it's being carried away is because whenever this jet stream dips and we have what we call a trough, it basically rides up the trough and moves east with the trough. So the jet stream being a big helper in our forecast, timing it exactly right to carry those storms away. There's a look at your other disturbance, that 30% one that we were tracking a moment ago, trying to get a bit more organized, but again, not exactly in a primed area of the atmosphere. So definitely fortunate that we're not seeing any of these impacts, but yeah, I mean, we're staying on the calmer side in that extended forecast. But Matt, calmer side right now, we're seeing that in full effect here on our Thursday afternoon. You're experiencing those cooler, drier conditions. Can we say cooler is cool a little bit of a stretch?
I don't know. It's tolerable. How about that? Definitely tolerable out here. I would say peaceful, pleasant. I'm excited to be here. You know, this is kind of an exclusive opportunity for us to take a first look here at the Chickasaw Heritage Site. I'm in Tupelo at that location, and I'm just going to pop the camera up above me so you can just kind of get kind of the wide shot of what we're looking at here. What you're seeing over on this side over here, if I can get my hand in the shot there. This is going to be kind of a pedestrian walkway that goes back up to the front. This will actually be the area that you would walk into. Give me a moment to kind of walk around the outside here. I'm going to get this thing to where it stops trying to lock on the top of my head. Instead, we'll kind of show you what we have. So behind me this direction, you have where the vehicles will be coming in. Main entrance will be coming from the Natchez Trace Parkway. Appreciate the city of Tupelo. They, through an in-kind donation, help to make the road, and we'll complete that contact there. Once things progress to that point where it makes sense. And then of course I'm standing near the spot where the buses will come in here, and again I talked about the kind of the pedestrian walkway up to the site itself. Give me a moment here for something. Hold on. No.
Okay. Is it good?
Hold on.
Perfect. I think he's back.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're good.
We'll take Matt.
So I was at the edge of my good cell service down there, and I kind of knew that was a risk. So anyway, I went ahead and rebooted the camera program here, and it worked a little better. I'm gonna get higher up and get slightly better service here. And with me is Brad Doremus and Trip Boland, who are the folks here. Brad is the director of the Chickasaw Heritage Center, and then Trip is basically in charge of making sure that everything gets out of the ground the way it's supposed to. So thank you so much for having us out here. I appreciate y'all for inviting us. Kind of a unique opportunity. This did not look like this earlier this week.
No. This place has really come alive in just the last couple of weeks. You know, I was telling you earlier, pay attention because it'll never look like this ever again.
And this is, you know, there's some structures come and go. You know, this is going to be here for generations. Like that's the point. That's why it was not a cheap project. $60 million, of course. I think, you know, when everything shot up after COVID, that shot the price up as well. But well worth it for the number of people that are going to get to experience Chickasaw history firsthand.
We want to do it good. We don't want to do it right.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are kind of standing where folks will be walking in to this, and they'll walk back this direction here toward these giant columns. And you might notice the columns look interesting, different color, honestly. Kind of a unique thing, right? Meant to symbolize something, right?
That's right.
So I meant to symbolize, trees, which obviously very important. You know, and to a certain extent, a big difference between homeland and where the Chickasaw Nation is primarily located at this point here, right?
That's right.
Some of the many things that you'll be, showcasing are those differences in the way the homeland is and where the current nation is. So we're standing now in kind of the main sort of atrium when people come to the Heritage Center.
Yeah, we'd say, Chugwa, come on in. We just came through the doors right then.
Oh, see, there you go. So welcome in. This is your first time walking inside.
It's going to look a little bit different here in a little over a year. We'll open in November of 2026.
And so when we kind of walk up here, you walk from where we were just a second ago, which is kind of the atrium area. This is kind of the area right before your main exhibit hall, and that's where you're expected at 2 o'clock in the morning tonight start pouring a lot of concrete, right?
Yeah, we're going to pour about 180 yards. We'll Trip in charge of doing all that. 180 yards. That'll take several hours. Big crew. This is the entrance to the exhibit hall. It'll take you through time, through our history, and through our culture. And you'll end up over here. We'll have a gift store, an art gallery, purpose room, lots of activities for people to have and participate in.
And this is not just, this will be, there's an economic component to this. Clearly, that's part of the reason why the state of Mississippi, the city of Tupelo, involved in it. But this is an educational component. There'll be lots and lots of kids that think back, even my kids probably included, and talk about when they came on a tour of this location in school. Like, this is gonna have an impact in people understanding Mississippi history more clearly.
Yeah, exactly. Mississippi history tied in deep, run deep with this. Our ancestors lived over there just a couple hundred that we're tied in. We want everybody to come be a part of this journey with us and enjoy this. I think kids will be an active participant in this whole venture here.
Yeah, and that's the goal. One of the things, this part of the world, so sports obsessed, I'm going to swing the camera over this direction. One of the things that I didn't even know was a thing, and I'm embarrassed to say that as a 40-something-year-old man, is, that the Chickasaw had a sport that was their own that you're going to be able to feature here at some point in the future, and
stickball.
I know, right? I'd never heard of it until I feel like a year, maybe 2 years ago. I'd be embarrassed to say that, but there's not a lot of opportunities to learn that information. That's something that
we
will hear, right? There's so many little things like that. I don't know what I don't know about Chickasaw history that my kids are going to know because they're going to be able to come here.
Well, stickball is originally called the little brother of war. So the tribes would play this instead of going to war a lot of times. It's similar to lacrosse, except you got 2 sticks and a ball about the size of a golf ball, playing east to west over here in our back field over there. But we'll have plenty of opportunity to teach, train, play, have fun.
It's crazy to think that was conflict resolution.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's so advanced as opposed to let's just go out and everybody go against everybody to let's concentrate on something like that. There's so many things about Chickasaw history, especially in this homeland, I think people will learn. What's okay, now I'm just curious. What is something else that people always go, really, when you tell them? I'm just curious, and I'll put you on the spot on that. Maybe I should give you a minute to think about that.
Well, it's clearing up misconceptions.
Yeah.
You know, I come from Oklahoma. I've been here 2 years, so I'm a Tupeloan now. But in Oklahoma, people from around the world come to Oklahoma. They still expect to see us living in covered wagons with teepees everywhere. But we didn't have teepees. We had summer houses, winter houses, because the winter houses were built for warmth. But in case you guys don't know, it gets hot here in Mississippi.
Yeah.
So that was built with the wind direction in mind for the summer houses.
Ah, interesting. Okay, so again, another advanced idea, meteorological component there, understanding the prevailing wind direction with that. Very, very interesting stuff. So
yeah, the whole campus is going to be free. We want a lot of activities to happen. There will be some small charges for eventually maybe phase 2 or maybe going into the museum. We're going to have another building later on where it's going to be the theater and the cafe that we can host a lot of activities there too.
Yeah, so it's going to be a venue where, you know, you can host different things.
Hopefully we'll have several weddings here.
Well, and there's honestly no venue, and this is not to knock any single venue out there, but there's nothing like, I mean, if I just stop and I just tilt the camera around here different directions, like we are in the middle of what is, you know, to a certain extent, pristine area for this time. I mean, probably a little more pine than would have been here, you know, originally, but, you know, that it's quiet. We're just a few miles off of I-22, right off of the Natchez Trace. It's incredibly accessible. And just, I think it's a very peaceful place.
It is. It's very peaceful.
So, we're thinking you're expecting opening November of 26.
November 2026.
And so, you know, we're only just a little over a year away from that. You know, it's a lot of work in a short period of time, but we know you guys have been planning for this. Intense planning the last 5 to 7 years in particular.
Absolutely, raising money, getting things going. Trip here, their group has been wonderful. ICM.
You know, and if you would like to support this, and again, there is still a fundraising effort ongoing with this. How can people do that?
They can go to our website, ChickasawHeritageCenter.com, or like us on Facebook. We're on Facebook too. If you can't afford to support us financially, like us, share us. You know, getting the word out there really helps.
Yeah, absolutely. And so just so thankful for of course, the Chickasaw people for choosing to reinvest in this. There is a cultural center in Sulphur, Oklahoma, and that in no way is a model for this, but that is a huge draw to the region. And so it gives kind of an idea of the number of people that hopefully will be coming to see this.
We'll see this, and then they see a little bit here, then they'll go to Oklahoma. Oklahoma want to come see this.
So it's
keep the roads hot.
It is, you know, the Journey Home campaign has been what has been called, and certainly that has been a long journey. And we're so glad that you allowed us to be a part of showcasing that today.
Absolutely, thank you so much, and we just invite everybody to come be a part of this journey with us.
Okay, thank you so much, Brad Doremus, who is the executive director or the director. At this point here. So, Gabe, I'm going to send it back to you in the studio here. Just a kind of a cool look here, a first look live from the Cultural Center. See, now I said the one. It's the Heritage Center, the CHC, coming together here. And so just a very exciting time for this region and what it means in the future. Live in Tupelo, I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Laupon from Mississippi Live Weather. Hey, real quick, before we go, I did ask you before the broadcast if there were any questions that you had, that folks had. Any questions that maybe we could try to answer?
Well, you answered a lot of them whenever it came to the, whenever it's going to be in full effect. That's November 2026, correct?
Yes.
Okay. They also asked, you know, will there be different activities for different age groups? Because we know that there will be things to appeal to adults. What about the children? Is there going to be something to show off the arts and crafts of the Chickasaw people? Or, you know, what exactly is there for each age group?
We're working on different age group programming specifically. Over here is our multi-purpose room. It's going to be a lot of training rooms. We'll be able to demonstrate and teach.
You know, and part of phase 2 is the hope is to be able to possibly put a playground out that direction there, hopefully a large one. And then eventually a stickball field, which is what got me thinking about it, so that it's not just something that was in a book or something that happened before, where perhaps we get to the point where stickball has enough of a following around here. I mean,
we have a big team in Oklahoma. We're getting them. I want them to come out here. You hear that, guys? I want you to come out here.
There you go. So, and then we can all learn, and who knows, maybe my grandkids will be playing stickball instead of soccer.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that would be great, certainly. Any other questions, Gabe?
Well, they were asking about the specific location. Now, we mentioned it was off I-22 a good bit, right off the trace. Just, do you have an exact whereabouts, what exit maybe?
So essentially, there's no way to get here now. The roadway I pointed to at the beginning is not completed, is not connected back to the trace, and that will be where the main entrance is. And there will be kind of a welcome gate along that, because there will be hours where it's open, hours where it's not. But if you know generally where the Chickasaw Village historical site is off of the trace, then that's, generally speaking, this is connected to that same area. So
it's about 3 miles from the visitor center.
About 3 miles from the Natchez Trace Visitor Center. See, I should have let you answer that question because you got it more precisely. But yeah, it's a very accessible location. And one of the things that I think we would got to mention is there are very few places that get new exits off of the Natchez Trace. And that is the case in this case here.
We've been blessed to partner with so many amazing people.
Yeah, so it's coming together, and it's going to be something I think is great for generations. What else you got, Gabe?
Well, the most important question, honestly, in my opinion, is someone asked, can I pet that dog?
Okay, hold on. I will show. I will pet Ophi. So Ophi is dog in Chickasaw, and I've witnessed them. Hold on, I'll get down. There you go. Hi guys. So I mean, he is truly their mascot here. He is relatively well behaved, though, as you can see looking at Brad's pants. If I can get there, he is fairly marked up with the mud. But that's another one of the things people don't realize. Chickasaw had dogs. And so there's so many parts of their life. Oh, see there, got down close. He does jump a little bit. But who knows? Maybe at some point there could be something here for the furry fellows as well.
Yep, we're hoping to. We know that people actively travel up and down the trace with their pets, and we hope to accommodate that some way.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
Well,
Any
sweet.
other questions, Gabe?
Well, no, just a statement. Everyone is so excited to get out there. Several people in chat saying that, and of course the Facebook comments just excited to come see it. So November 2026, I mean, Natchez Trace is going to be booked up with traffic that day.
It really will. There'll be times a day where it will be for sure. So thank you all so much, Gabe. We'll send it back to you. Anything else you want to add, Brad?
Yakoke and Chapisa Lecho. That means thank you, and we'll see you soon. See you later.
Okay, we'll see you soon.
Oh, perfect. Well, and as they were talking about some ways to donate, Caleb, we can pull this back here. Some ways to donate. You can, of course, go to their website. Here it is at the top of the screen, https:// ChickasawHeritageCenter.com. So you can go ahead and input that right now and go ahead and head to their website, and it has different ways of donating, whether that's a one-time donation or a recurring donation. Just every little bit counts and every little bit helps in what they're trying to do over there. And again, we're just so excited here at Mississippi Live Weather to be a part of that. A big thank you to them for just allowing us to head out there. And of course, they want to give a big thank you to you guys for even making this possible and just supporting them, and hopefully get to see it real soon here in a little over a year. There's also their Facebook at Chickasaw Heritage Center, and I know they didn't mention Instagram, but I found their Instagram at Chickasaw Encana. I might be saying that wrong, but you can see right there, either of those pages, you can go ahead and like and support their pages right now and be a part of this journey as they head over the next year. But we are excited here at Mississippi Live Weather to be a part of that and just to see it all in action. I mean, we're in the stages where it's not going to look like that here in the long run, but definitely excited to just be a part of this journey with them. So that's all we have. Matt was mentioning that it's a cool facility. Well, it's cool for multiple reasons. Just because, I mean, it's cool in general, but it's also cool because cooler weather. And that's what we're going to be seeing over the next several days with a significant cold front moving in Sunday. We'll be walking through that in more detail coming up on Mississippi Live Weather at 10. Of course, if you want to support us here at Mississippi Live Weather, right here. Download that app on the QR codes on your screen. Go ahead and scan that with your phone. Screenshot this. Send it to a friend, a neighbor, a cousin, an aunt, a mom, a dad, anyone you want to get it on their mobile device today. Roku, Mississippi Live. Don't include the weather. Roku does not like weather. We don't know why. We like weather here. But just don't put that in the name, and we'll be able to download that on your device today. Still waiting on other streaming services, but trust me, we are trying every single day to make sure that it is handled. So hopefully that will be handled here soon, and we'll be walking through that forecast in more detail. And again, a big thank you to you guys for just making all of this possible from here at Mississippi Live Weather and also from the Chickasaw Heritage Center. Next broadcast coming up on Mississippi Live Weather at 10. Keep it here for the very latest on all your weather needs, and of course, we'll give you the very latest on your Friday forecast and the upcoming weekend coming up tonight at 10.
Growing up, Gabe was naturally curious when he began to discover weather. Gabe just didn't want to know what was happening, but he wanted to know why it was happening. Gabe became fascinated with tornadoes, and it impacted his life. He wanted to pursue a career in meteorology. Even though Gabe grew up in Alabama, Mississippi has now become his home and his family. And one thing about Gabe is he keeps his family safe.